The decline in the birth rate will be the spark for the collapse of the pension pyramid.
The people will be gone, so who will we sell the houses to? Experts say that if everyone stops having a second child, in 50 years the population will be only 580 million. So, who will we sell the houses to in the future? In reality, no one cares about who will buy the houses. What people really care about is that if a child is born into this world, it will be to inherit poverty and suffering. In fact, not having children can also be seen as an act of kindness. A population decline is highly beneficial for the next generation because, with fewer people, there will no longer be the exploitation of cheap labor. Do you agree with this perspective?
It shouldn't be news to anyone that the future awaiting us is anything but optimistic. If you're under 40 and counting on your government to pay your pension in the future, you've fallen into the largest pyramid scheme in history, one that all the governments of the world have adopted, and this pyramid is about to collapse. The low birth rate worldwide is the spark for the fall of this structure. Young people from Generation Z are simply giving up on having children for various reasons, which we will explore in today's video. I'm curious, have you managed to escape this pyramid? I want to know your opinion on this topic.
I saw a so-called expert say that young people who don't get married will have a huge negative impact on the future of China and the world. You see, if they don't get married, they basically won't have children, and if they don't have children, the population of this country will definitely experience negative growth. Both labor resources and consumption capacity will decline, so this country will lose its competitiveness. For many young people, if they don't get married, they really don't have life pressure. But at the same time, their fighting spirit will also weaken. Therefore, both for personal development and for the overall consumption of society, especially for the baby and toddler market, it has a significant impact. Not getting married is a major hidden danger for society. Okay, I've finished restating what the expert said. So the question arises, why don't young people want to get married, right? You can't just say that not getting married and not having children brings harm to the country and society. The key to solving this problem is, first of all, to reflect on why these young people are unwilling to get married and have children. Logically speaking, getting married and having children, continuing the lineage, is an instinct of humans and even animals, but what's the result? Nowadays, more and more young people don't even have the most persistent idea of continuing their lineage. They don't want to. Those who say this harms society, have you considered why? What kind of pressure are young people facing today that would lead them to abandon this instinct? In any case, seeing the current decline in the population of sheep, some people have started to become anxious. No one is stupid, okay? Some people, on the surface, are worried that today's young people not getting married and having children will bring harm to the country and society in the future. But in reality, aren't they more worried about not being able to harvest the chives later? Currently, the fundamental reason for the sluggish real estate market lies here. Let's take an example. If there are still many young people continuously having children and the birth rate keeps increasing, I'll ask you, will house prices still fall? They shouldn't, right? After all, if there are people, everyone will still have good expectations for the future, right? If there's a market, there will be people who can eat well. To put it bluntly, think about it. Isn't it that today's young people don't want to get married and have children because they don't want to give birth to a child just to raise a bunch of grandchildren? Your so-called demographic dividend has what to do with ordinary young people. It will only increase the competition, and the dividends have been taken away by those who are anxious. And even after taking them away, they still don't care about the lives of young people and have never truly cared about what young people actually need. What does it mean for young people not to get married and have children? That without pressure, there's no motivation to struggle. Hey, I'm quite curious. I'm not poor to the point of begging, right? I'm also not bringing shame to my parents and elders, and I have no pressure. I'm living very happily. Is not having pressure a problem? Does a person have to have pressure? Is life just about being a workhorse? Right? Being human, I just want to live lightly and happily, live without pressure. Not buying a house, not buying a car, not getting married, not having children. What can happen? I can take responsibility for my own life. A few days ago, a video went viral. I don't know if you saw it. It said that a 45-year-old man has been unmarried for 10 years. He saved $600,000 and lives without any pressure, purely for himself. What about baby formula? No one buys it. The baby and toddler market isn't making money. What does that have to do with us? Right? We just need to focus on the things we care about. Right? Everything has cause and effect. Don't say that today's young people aren't making an effort, because they used to make an effort too, right? It's actually quite good to be able to lie flat. Those who can lie flat at least have the ability to let themselves lie flat. Aren't there many developed countries where they work half a day and rest half a day? Right? Work is for a better life, not to occupy life and take away our living. In fact, the current choice of young people not to marry or have children is also an inevitable path for social progress. There's no need to force it. What do you think?
See you next time.
DINK families refer to couples with dual incomes, but who don't want to have children. There are two reasons for this. One is because they don't want to, and the other is because they can't. Many people have significant prejudices against DINK families, with a common saying being, of the three great unfilial acts, the greatest is not having descendants. Many people misunderstand the meaning of this phrase. First, not having descendants doesn't mean not having children. It means not fulfilling one's duty as a good offspring. So, this phrase actually has little to do with opposing the DINK concept. Moreover, some people have experienced significant family trauma during childhood, which causes them to fear parenthood. They lack confidence in their ability to raise children. After all, having a child is not like raising a dog. You have to teach them to read and to be a good person. If you can't raise them properly, it may end up harming the child, and in the end, giving birth can cause great harm to women. After childbirth, at the very least, there may be lingering gynecological issues and, at worst, postpartum depression or even suicide. If a couple doesn't want to take this risk and prefers to continue living their life as a pair, no one has the right to judge them. Reproductive freedom means that, within the appropriate age for marriage and childbirth, and within the limits of what one can afford, whether you want to have children or not, or how many you want to have, should be entirely your choice, free from coercion by anyone. Finally, a reminder, if you choose to be a DINK family, make sure the man takes responsibility. If one day you regret it, the man can still find someone younger. But for women, once time passes, having children becomes much more difficult. Zalefu wishes that everyone can become qualified parents.
I don't really want to get married, but I think it's still necessary to get married. But I definitely don't want to have children. One reason is that I don't really like kids, and I feel like I can't provide them with basic living conditions. If I can't even take care of myself, how can I raise a new life? If I bring a child into this world, I would just be letting them live here, which is actually quite unfair. They didn't necessarily want to come into this world. And if their life turns out to be extremely miserable, is that fair? My girlfriend has the same thoughts as me, so we happily decided to be together. What bothers me the most is that getting married involves both families and a lot of family issues like dowries and other messy things, which I find quite annoying. She is from Tianjin, but now she works in Nantong. I met her during my internship, and then she went abroad to the UK. When she came back, I was already working, and she happened to find a job near my company. So we decided to have dinner together, and that's how we naturally ended up together. Before, we thought either I would go to Tianjin or she would come to Beijing, but actually both places are acceptable for living and working. However, when it comes to marriage, buying a house and a car becomes quite difficult, especially now. Sometimes I just don't want to get married, and my reason might be that I've already had such a tough time. Why should I drag someone else down with me?
In today's world, it's true that more and more people are choosing not to get married or have children. However, I believe that not many of those people can live with true certainty and happiness. Most are living without marriage but accompanied by a lot of anxiety. The reason I'm able to walk this path with such conviction is, on the one hand, because I have a strong inner self and I don't care too much about what others say. On the other hand, the people around me have been really nice to me. There are many important people in my life who support me. They are not like me. They all have families and children, living what is considered a normal life. But they respect and support me deeply, which I find incredibly valuable. It's normal for people with similar mindsets to support each other, but in this case, even though we're different, we manage to respect each other's choices. This openness in humanity actually gives me even greater strength. Let me tell you about one of my close cousins. We grew up together, and I spent many years living with her family. Now, she lives in a first-tier city, owns 2 houses, has 2 cars, and 2 kids. Her life is stable, but I can't say she's truly happy. I think few people really achieve that. She lives a normal life, but she once told me very clearly that having her second child was a bit rushed. At the time, her mother was pressuring her a lot to have a second baby, and she gave in without much thought. After the birth, the financial pressure became enormous, and she often tells me how much she envies me for still being able to enjoy life, something she dreams about. So, she fully supports me in living the life I want and doesn't think I should live like her, with so much responsibility and pressure. Another person who supports me is my sister-in-law, a professor at a prestigious university. She has a very modern and open-minded outlook and is fully accepting of people who choose not to get married or have children. Even her own child, now in university, has mentioned that they might not want kids, and she's completely okay with it. For her, the most important thing is that her child lives a happy life. Besides my family, I have a close friend in Beijing. Her child is already grown, attending a great university. I once told her, "Now that your child is off to college, you don't have to worry anymore." But she replied that even though her child is now studying abroad and she has more freedom, her heart is still constantly concerned about him. She said that there's always something to worry about, from his future to his eventual marriage and family. She admitted that she genuinely envies me, though not every mother would say that out loud. One of my biggest supporters is actually my own mother. She's really open-minded about this. I think part of it is because she went through a lot of hardships when she had me. So, if her daughter doesn't want to endure those same hardships, she's completely okay with it. She also feels like the times have changed. Nowadays, a lot of people are choosing not to have children, and for her, it doesn't matter. Even though I'm an only child, she doesn't have this concept of needing to continue the family line. For her, what matters is how I feel in life. She hopes I can live a happy and fulfilling life, and that's enough for her. Now, after hearing all of this, you might think that it's because I have people supporting me that I can live like this. But I want to say, no, it's not like that. It's actually the opposite. It's because I'm firm in my convictions that I've been able to attract people who truly support me. Those who don't understand or support my choices naturally distance themselves from me, and I don't feel the need to be around them. After all, I'm the one who knows whether I'm living happily. Only I can create the life I want, and no one else can be responsible for that. So, those who try to change your life with just a few words or comments really don't deserve your attention, because they can't be responsible for your life. Receiving guests refers to couples from dual-income families who are healthy, can have children, but actively choose not to have kids, and accept living a child-free lifestyle for life. If the inability to have children is due to infertility, broadly speaking, it can also be classified as a DINK, double income no kids group. Generally, the DINK group is divided into 5 types. The first type is the iron DINK, who has firmly decided not to have children in this lifetime and only wants to live a couple's life. The second type is the water DINK, where one partner cannot have children or does not want to, and the other decides not to have children as well. It's important to note that if the woman is a water DINK, it's best for her to have thought seriously about it. If she decides not to have children following her heart and later, after her fertile years, wants to have children, it will be more difficult. The third type is the white DINK, where the couple has said they are DINK for several years but later ended up getting pregnant and having children. Initially, they spent years saying that not having children is good. Generally, the mentality of the white DINK tends to be that not having children is very good, but having children is also acceptable. The fourth type is the regretful DINK, where the couple agreed to be DINK when they were younger, but later, when they are older and find it difficult to have children, they regret it and want kids. If both want children, they can choose to adopt. If one wants and the other does not, it may lead to divorce, and each will pursue their new happiness. The fifth type is the dog DINK, where the couple just wants to be pet parents, raising pets as companions in life.
I might be a bit biased about this topic because I'm from Generation Z. However, I understand the logic behind what's happening. We are in a time when the economy is going downhill, even with technological advancements and various opportunities to generate wealth. Starting a family is becoming unfeasible, even though we know the importance of it for the future. There are many different reasons that make the idea of bringing a child into an unfavorable situation difficult. Often, we find immature parents who are not prepared for this responsibility, as well as women who share this mindset. But I don't want to delve too deeply into this topic. I can discuss it in another video. What do you all think? I want to hear everyone's opinion, especially from those of previous generations. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.